Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit of accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because they agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. It's Pam Esquire, also known as the Law Intellect. So look, we started out trying to stream this Melly trial, and I think everybody got a strike. Well, I got a warning. They sent me about 50 emails, told me that it was copyright material and ... I think it even happened to Law and Crime. So I'm assuming it's because of that documentary that was played. Nevertheless, I took that crap down because they're not about to be striking my page over Melly. Melly, I don't get paid. I don't have no bank account that got 16 million in it to be streaming no Melly. But I will come over here because that testimony they got me with that one. I ain't see that one coming. I want to know if anybody saw that coming, that somebody, I don't even know what was his name? I need to know what his name was that just got off the stand. But he was in the red Mitsubishi. He said they were asleep. Melly originally got in the gray truck. Remember, I kept telling you guys, they have not proven that he was in the truck at the time of the shooting. They only showed that he got into the truck when he left the studio. I kept saying that. So now they got this smoking gun that comes in and essentially says, well, we pulled over and he jumped in the car with us. Now, somebody mentioned that allegedly it was a video or something of them going into the apartment building and Melly wasn't in there. But I'm going to assume, I'm going to go on the limb, that if they had a video that showed that, the prosecution would have put that up, because that would have just dismantled his whole entire testimony. But I need y'all to tell me what you think. Tell me what you guys think. Law and Crime went on break again. I'm not trying to get my channel struck. It ain't that deep. But I said I would come over here, and even if we do listen to it on our phones or whatever, and we just stare here looking at each other, then we could at least talk to each other in the chat. But it was a lot, Cupcake. It was a lot. I said, what? So for those of you that did not get a chance to watch it, so this guy that just came on, I don't even know his name because everybody's channel got struck at the same time. So when he first took the stand, I don't think we heard his name. I just jumped on and he was there. So he was one of the guys that was in the red Mitsubishi. It was him, somebody named Jacoby and Tay and Trayvon. They got into the red Mitsubishi. Now those names are going to come up because there was a civil lawsuit of which Juvie's mother, the estate of Juvie, actually sued all the people in the red Mitsubishi and in the Jeep. All of them got sued. It wasn't just Melly. It was all of them for wrongful death. So apparently they're blaming all of them. And I told you guys we would go over that lawsuit. But nevertheless, this guy says that everybody was in the car asleep but the driver. He wakes up and then Melly hops in the car with them and then they pull up. And then they got testimony that only Cortland and Melly had a key to that house that everybody lived in. So Melly had to be there, I guess, to let them into the house. That's what his testimony was. Her cross, I thought she was going to slam him. She found a few inconsistencies, but to me, she didn't find anything real major for her to say climbing over or pushing over. And then I think it was, he didn't know whether Melly went to the bedroom or not. I guess in the first statement, he said he didn't know if Melly went to the bedroom. He didn't remember. And I guess now it's been brought to his remembrance that he went to the bedroom. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Long crime went out as well. That's why I said I think it was the copyright from that documentary they were playing that ended up being inadmissible. I think the judge sustained the objection because it was really self-serving. It honestly opened the door for character evidence, so they probably shouldn't have wanted it in. But their purpose was completion because the prosecution just showed a little snippet. So Melly was just given the opportunity to testify and he declined. Okay, let me go back on here. Let's see, because I don't want them striking my doggone channel, child. Oh, they on break still? Then you can tell she was getting the prosecution was getting a little unhinged because she started calling him demons again. That's what she does whenever she's my apologies. No, ma'am, you were correcting Moretti yesterday for calling him demons. It's demons like lemons. But now all of a sudden his name is Jamel Demons again. That is a messed up last name. I would have changed my last name if that was my last name. I don't care how you pronounce it. Wow. Yeah, I know they rested. I know they rested. She knows exactly what right, St. James. She knew what she was doing when she did that. It sounds like to me, it just sounds like a act of desperation. So he declined to testify as he should. He should not get on that stand. That would have been crazy. So let's see what questions. Y'all don't have anything that does anybody want to come on and talk about it? I'll put the link in there. Let's see. That was I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that. I'm gonna be honest. I was not expecting all that to happen. Did y'all think he was believable? I need somebody to tell me. Did you think the witness seemed credible? I don't even know who he was, so somebody got to tell me his name. But what does this if they believe him, how does this leave Cortland Henry though? But the thing is, the prosecution in their own testimony pretty much said Cortland she couldn't have been the shooter. So St. James said, I don't think he's going to BAP said I believe his testimony. You were confused when we went out. You said, I don't think she presented enough evidence to convict. I don't know what I was expecting. I ain't even gonna lie to you. But I wasn't expecting that. When they said one witness, I was like, you're not gonna put like any forensic people to I guess if their strategy is if they're saying their client wasn't there, then we ain't gotta prove what happened in that car. That's on you. Our client wasn't there no way. So we don't have to put on any experts to say it was a drive-by. It wasn't a drive-by. We don't gotta put in that type of test. Let's see what she gotta say.
Anyhow, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, more of the YNW Melly case.
I'm not she going on break.
Stay with us.
But yeah, I just wanted to come on and chit chat with you guys because I know that you had to watch it over there because they sure kicked us out. And I didn't know why. Then they kept sending me all these emails about copyright stuff. So I wasn't trying to have them type of problems. The Melly trial be over and then I still can't stream because they done struck my channel. Celeste said reasonable doubt. Jeff said he was not even in the group. He makes his money working for his grandfather. Who is he? Could somebody tell me his name? What is his name, guys? Let me see if I could find that lawsuit that they filed. It is very interesting because even in that the lawsuit may help some people that don't understand what was going on in this case, because they pretty much, if you read the lawsuit, you pretty much knew. Yeah, you pretty much knew like what. Let me take some of this stuff off my screen so y'all see some of my clients. Oh, okay. Transcript. I'm about to pull up this lawsuit real quick. Let me pull this up. While we're waiting on the judge to come back. Let me look at a few of your comments. So this was the complaint. Defense witness is named. What's his name? A. Davis or AD. Okay. Thank you so much. So this is the lawsuit. As you guys see, Leandra Phillips, who is the PR of the estate of Christopher Thomas, which is YNW Juvie, filed a lawsuit against Jamel Demons, which is Melly, Cortland Henry, which is YNW Borland, Jameson Francois, that's the manager, Trayvon Glass, Jacoby Mills, Adrian Davis. So that must be the one that testified, Adrian Davis. Dontavius Withers, Frederick Givens, 100K Management LLC, a Florida Limited Corporation. Okay. And we can go to the factual allegations. It look like they back in the courtroom too. Let's see what they talking about.
Reflect the presence of the defendant, Demons, his counsel, his assistant attorney, and the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. As per, ladies and gentlemen, the state is defendant for the rest of their case. The state has no additional evidence or witnesses.
The case is over.
And the state is also rested. There's no further evidence in the case. So what I need to do is get the jury instructions done. I need some time to do that with the attorneys, and then they're going to present their closing. I can't be in session on this case tomorrow morning, so my thought is we're going to close one day on Thursday.
Okay, so essentially they are going to have closing on Thursday, and yeah, it's a wrap. The prosecution did not do any rebuttal witnesses, so their case is over anyway. So anyway, the factual allegations, for those of you that have not been following this case, this may be helpful on what the theory is. In the early morning hours of October 26th of 2018, 8 individuals met at a recording studio in downtown Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Ultimately, 4 of these individuals loaded into a Jeep Compass. Christopher Thomas Jr. was the right rear passenger. Anthony Williams was the right front passenger. Cortland Henry was the driver. Jamel Demons was the left rear passenger. The subject Jeep was a rental vehicle that was rented by 100K Management. Remember, we were asking about that too? And that was a nasty vehicle for it to be rented, and or Jameson Francois. So 100K track, for those that don't know, is the LLC, and Jameson Francois, which we heard all through this case, is the manager. According to Florida's public records, defendant Jameson is a registered agent of 100K Management. At about the same time, Dontavius Withers, a friend and colleague of Jamil Demons and Cortland Henry, drove a red Mitsubishi vehicle, which also departed from the recording studio in Fort Lauderdale. Trayvon Glass, Jacoby Mills, Adrian Davis, the one that just testified this morning, and Dontavius Withers were occupants of the subject Mitsubishi. According to the state of Florida, analysis through TrueCall data not only provides evidence of what environment phones are in, such as whether a phone is in a car, it also provides the distance from the nearest cell phone tower and the angle from the tower. Based thereon and other factual evidence, the locations of the individuals named herein are known at the material times. The Jeep Compass and its 4 occupants and the Mitsubishi and its 4 occupants traveled from Fort Lauderdale, leaving about 3:20 a.m., going across Interstate 595 and traveling south on Interstate 75 to Miramar Parkway. Along the journey, the Mitsubishi and Jeep diverted from each other and took separate paths. It is believed the individuals in the Mitsubishi went to a home rented by Jamil Demons in the Sunset Lakes area of Miramar, Florida. The Jeep, driven by Cortland Henry, veered off the path and traveled to a secluded location with the other occupants in the Jeep, Jamil Demons, Anthony Williams, and Christopher Thomas Jr. According to the state of Florida, data reveals that a shooting and then a staged drive-by shooting took place at a near Pembroke Road in US 27 or around 4:01 a.m. According to the state of Florida. So essentially, the state gave them all this information. They filed this lawsuit like in 2021, before this trial even happened, before they knew the evidence the defense had. This lawsuit was filed. According to the state of Florida, Jamil Demons first shot Anthony Williams in the back of the head and then shot Christopher Thomas Jr. on the side of the head. At which point Christopher Thomas Jr. slumped over to his left. Defendants Jamil Demons and Cortland Henry had previously been convicted of a felony by operation of Florida law. Neither were entitled to possess a firearm on the day of the subject shooting. Following the shootings, Jamil Demons, Cortland Henry, and others involved erroneously claimed Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams were unalive during the drive-by shooting. The evidence is not consistent with the drive-by shooting. After the shooting, Cortland Henry released Jamil Demons on the side of the road. According to the state of Florida, Jamil Demons' cell phone records show he sent a message or ping to another individual requesting to be picked up from the scene of the shooting. Jameson Francois transported Jamil Demons from the shooting location. Now, before they were saying that it was Fredo Bang that was the one that allegedly picked them up, right? So this is saying they must have got information that it was the manager. Ultimately, the Jeep Compass arrived at Memorial Hospital, Miramar, with only 3 people in the car. Cortland Henry was still the driver. Christopher Thomas Jr. was still the right rear passenger, and Anthony Williams was still in the front passenger seat, except they had been shot and were dying or deceased. Prior to transporting the shooting victims to the hospital or notifying rescue personnel or notifying law enforcement of the shooting, Cortland changed his clothes. At or around 4:43 a.m., the shooting victims, Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams, were removed from the Jeep at Miramar Hospital. Sometime thereafter, multiple individuals, including but not limited to some of the defendants herein, returned to the scene of the shooting to remove a spoliate evidence. So they're accusing all the people or some of the defendants for going to the scene and trying to spoil the evidence. That means basically trying to somehow tamper with evidence. Cortland Henry claimed the shooting victims were involved in the drive-by shooting. Cortland Henry said that he got down and thus didn't see anything, including the driver or make and model of the car. Cortland Henry then misled law enforcement officials by placing the location of the drive-by shooting at or near Miramar Parkway and Interstate 75. Based thereon, Miramar Police Department investigated that entire roadway and found no shells, no broken glass, and nothing to justify or show that there was any truth to the statements made by Cortland Henry. Ultimately, 8 .40 caliber shell casings were found at the true shooting location. A trajectory analysis performed by the state of Florida reveals that 16 shots were fired into the vehicle. The trajectory analysis also reveals that multiple gunshots were fired from within subject Jeep Compass. Further, according to the state of Florida, a white plastic bag contained a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson shell casing was found in the Jeep in the morning of October 26, 18. The Broward County Crime Lab confirmed that shell casing recovered from inside the Jeep is consistent and fired from the same weapon as the ones that were found on the side of the road at the shooting location. Based upon information and belief, that means they don't really know, defendants Demons, Henry, Francois, Glass, Mills, Davis, Withers, and or Givens provided false and or misleading information to law enforcement officers investigating the shooting death of Christopher Thomas. According to the state of Florida, so their whole thing is based on what the prosecution pretty much told them. Jamel Demons admitted to shooting 2 individuals in the head in a video on his cell phone, stating, quote, "There's no regrets for the ish that I did for that end to die. Both of them never say when." During the video, Jamel Demons allegedly takes a pen and puts it to his head in the shape of a gun, depicting pulling his trigger of the gun. We all learned that that line was a song. It was lyrics. So we learned that through the trial. Evidence has been requested from the state of Florida. Despite Marcy's law, the state of Florida has withheld this evidence. The facts will be supplemented as more is known, and discovery is conducted in both the pending criminal cases and civil action. So they have sued for wrongful death against Jamel Demons. And they're essentially saying he negligently, recklessly, or intentionally fired his weapon at Christopher Thomas Jr., resulting in great bodily harm. Defendant Jamel Demons knew or should have known that his actions were substantially certain or could result in great bodily harm or death. As a direct and proximate result of the foregoing conduct of defendant Jamel Demons, Christopher Thomas Jr. sustained injuries that resulted in his death. As a result of the death, the estate of Christopher Thomas has suffered damages, including they got funeral expenses and all of that. Then they got a wrongful death against Cortland Henry. Defendant, they're saying the same thing. He knew that his action was substantially certain or could result in great bodily harm or death as a direct and proximate result of the foregoing conduct. He sustained injuries that result. So they're blaming Cortland. Then count 3, they have negligent failure to render aid resulting in wrongful death against Jamel Demons and Cortland Henry. Due to the discharge of a handgun, defendant Jamel Demons and or Cortland created a situation in which Christopher Thomas Jr.'s life was immediately in jeopardy after the gun was discharged. Since the immediate danger to the life of Christopher Thomas Jr. was created by defendant Jamel Demons and or Cortland Henry's actions and or inaction, defendants Jamel Demons and Cortland Henry had a duty to reasonably render aid. So they're saying if one or the other could have done it. I'll get to the comments in 1 second. Counts 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Torturous interference with a corpse and or evidence of a crime scene. Defendants Jamel Demons and or Cortland Henry and or Jameson Francois and or Trayvon Glass and or Jacoby Mills and or Adrian Davis and or Frederick Givens and or Dontavius Withers. Once Christopher Thomas Jr. was shot, anyone who participated in the shooting, was present at the shooting, or was aware of the shooting owed a duty to provide medical assistance and or preserve the body of Christopher Thomas Jr. Further, anyone with knowledge of the shooting death of Christopher Thomas Jr. had a duty not to destroy, cover up, or spoliate any type of evidence relating to said shooting. Once Christopher Thomas Jr. was shot, defendant had a duty to preserve evidence and not destroy evidence of the crime. So they're blaming them for covering up the crime. And then counts, where we at? Y'all see all them, is that 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Intentional infliction of emotional distress against all of the defendants. After Christopher Thomas Jr. was shot, defendants Jamel Demons and or Cortland Henry and or Jameson Francois and or all the names in the defendants conspired with defendant Jamel Demons to falsify the true facts and what happened to Christopher Thomas Jr. Their false accounts were given to law enforcement in an attempt to hinder prosecution or otherwise effectuate the escape of defendant Jamel Demons and others. Defendants each knew or should have known that giving false information to police would not only hinder the prosecution of the person ultimately responsible for Christopher Thomas Jr.'s death, but would also cause serious emotional harm to the family of Christopher Thomas Jr., including his mother. Said false statements were made in reckless disregard of the emotional harm, which is certain to result from said actions. Said extreme and outrageous conduct by defendants caused plaintiff Leandra Phillip, as personal representative of the estate of Christopher Thomas, to experience extreme emotional trauma and other emotional harm as the investigation of her son's death was thwarted and delayed. Said emotional trauma and damages were approximately caused by defendants' actions. Count 21, wrongful death, negligent provision of a firearm to defendants Jamel Demons and Cortland Henry by unknown defendant John Doe. A search of the criminal history of Jamel Demons and Cortland Henry revealed several prior arrests involving firearms. Vero Beach police arrested Jamel Demons in late 2015 when police said he fired a gun at a group of people during a dispute near Vero Beach High School, where the then 16-year-old was a freshman. At 17, Cortland Henry was charged with fleeing from deputies who attempted a traffic stop near the Indian River Mall. He was tackled after hopping out of the vehicle and fleeing on foot. July 2016 arrest. Sorry, I'm looking at, I'm still kind of semi-working too. Wait a minute, let me check this email. 1 second, let's take one pause. This is very interesting. Oh, wow, that's good. In January 2017, Jamel Demons was arrested. Okay, I said all that. Or did I? No. On January 2017, Jamel Demons was arrested on weapons charges after a traffic stop. Deputies reported finding a loaded 9mm pistol with a laser attachment beneath Demons' feet and a .40 caliber Glock with an extended magazine in the glove compartment. Well, golly, Melly. Florida State troopers arrested Jamel Demons and Cortland Henry in June 2018 after finding 3 Glock handguns in large containers filled with marijuana in an SUV south of Fort Myers. In January, Jamel Demons pleaded no contest to possession of marijuana and drug paraphernalia and was given a 25-day jail sentence. Additionally, Jamel Demons had a pattern and practice of glorifying murder in audio and video memes. Based on these issues, it was negligence and beyond to provide and prevent Jamel Demons from possessing a firearm. Based upon information and belief, defendant John Doe knew that Jamel Demons and Cortland Henry should not be in possession of a firearm. Despite this knowledge, defendant John Doe provided Jamel Demons and Cortland Henry with the subject and was ultimately used to execute Christopher Thomas. So I guess the person that provided them or sold the gun, they blaming too. Wow. Negligent operation of a motor vehicle against Cortland Henry. Based upon information and belief, and at all material times, Henry operated the subject Jeep Compass. As the operated subject Jeep, Cortland Henry owed a duty to Christopher Thomas Jr. and others to operate the Jeep as a reasonable, prudent person under the circumstances. Cortland Henry breached his duty to operate the subject Jeep as a reasonably prudent person would have under the circumstances. Defendant Cortland Henry failed to transport Christopher Thomas and Anthony Williams directly to the hospital following the shooting. Thank you so much for the membership. I appreciate it. This is a trip. See, that's why I said the lawsuit actually gives a little bit more concise, where you know what the prosecutor's argument is, because their whole complaint is based on what they were told, which aligns with what Juvie dad was saying was going to come out. So they were relaying all this information to them about what they found, obviously, or what they thought they found. So that's that claim. Then we got count 23, negligent entrustment of a motor vehicle against Jameson Francois and or 100K Management. Based on information and belief, Jameson Francois and or 100K Management rented the subject Jeep Compass. James Francois and or 100K Management negligently entrusted possession of the rented Jeep Compass to Cortland and Jamel. Based upon information and belief, Jameson Francois and or 100K Management was the talent management company for defendant Jamel Demons. Based upon this management relationship, Jameson Francois and 100K Management reasonably should have known that Jamel Demons is regularly in possession of a GUN. In addition, Jameson Francois and 100K Management reasonably should have known of Jamel Demons' prior criminal history involving hand. What that got to do with anything? So you can't rent somebody a car if they have a history of handguns. You're supposed to just assume they always carrying. That escapes me. For example, Jameson Francois and 100K Management knew or should have known that in January 2017, Jamel Demons was arrested on the weapons charge after a traffic stop. So he's saying he knew or should have known. So they don't even know if the manager knew, but they saying he should have known. Deputies reported finding a loaded 9mm pistol with laser attachment beneath Demons' feet and a .40 caliber Glock with an extended magazine in the glove compartment. Then they say the Jameson and them should have known that Demons and Cortland have a history of committing GUN crimes while traveling in automobiles on Florida roads. Oh, come on. I can't get with this claim. Y'all. So then they demand a jury trial on all triable issues. And let me see. It has to be a jurisdictional amount. Let me see what they were trying to ask for, because I skipped a lot of that because they go through residency and all of that. For jurisdictional purposes, plaintiff alleges that this is an action in excess of the amount required. So you just have to have a jurisdictional amount of at least $30,000. And they're saying, in fact, damages are in the millions or tens of millions of dollars. So they are requesting tens of millions of dollars in this lawsuit. And this was filed again almost, I don't want to say immediately, because the incident occurred in 2018. But they filed this long before this trial, which we have been covering for the last 16 days. So when did they file this? Does it have the October 23rd of 2020. So they filed it 3 years ago is when this lawsuit was filed. Also, I noticed that there was a demand for, of course, there was a motion to stay because he's under and he was facing criminal charges. Jamel Demons, or YNW Melly, was facing criminal charges. So, of course, he is not going to sit for a deposition. He is going to plead the fifth. So what his attorney did was ask for them to stay these proceedings until this criminal trial is over. Who the heck is going to sit there and just talk about stuff that can be used against them in a criminal case? It's not going to happen. That's why they understand why this was filed so soon, unless they were concerned about statute of limitation issues. maybe the wrongful death, you can only file, you only have a short window. That could have been why they filed. But they also filed a notice of proposed settlement. So plaintiff's notice of serving proposal for settlement. Plaintiff, and it got the names and all of that. They basically give notice that the date of proposal for settlement was served. So apparently they offered them the ability to settle the case. I don't think the case settled though, but that was filed as well. So anybody got any questions, man? Thank you so much, Yes, for becoming a member. So y'all let me know if you guys got any questions, chat. Yeah, 17. That's what Asia was saying. I don't know where she's been, but that's what she was saying, was talking about shooting at a school, and it was in a crowd of people. Yeah, the lawsuit was pretty much like, that's why I said, if you read, for anybody that did not follow this trial, you can literally read this lawsuit and see, of course, without all of the different nuances, expert testimony telling you about trajectory and forensics and CSI and all of that. But that does give you a concise explanation of what the prosecution is alleging. Now, what we just saw was the defense put on absolutely one witness, and that was AD Adrian Davis. And he essentially said that YNW Melly was not in the vehicle at the time of that, when they were unalive, that he left, they pulled over, Melly got in the car with them, and they went home, and Melly is the one that let them in. That was his testimony. I thought he was pretty calm. I thought he stuck to himself, stuck to his gun. He seemed like an okay witness. He was better than Bun. He was better. That's Felicia Holmes. To me, he was better than the guy that came last week that wanted to cover his face because he said he couldn't see in one eye. They seem just a little bit too, So I don't know, y'all. Y'all let me know what you think. If you guys think that Melly's gonna go up the river, if he's got a not guilty, is there enough reasonable doubt? Bortland said Melly wasn't in the car, and that's probably why, because people kept asking, was Bortland gonna testify? And I'm like, well, he's actually, let me see if some of his testimony. Let's see. This is.
During school, did any of you have any problems with each other?
No, not at all.
Would you label yourself good friends, associates, close friends, or what?
Good friends, close friends, best friends.
Now, did Melly also have another name besides Melly and Jamil?
Yeah.
So,
we only call them that. It was Crazy Legs.
Crazy Legs.
Yeah.
And why was he called Crazy Legs?
Because he liked to dance.
And that's why he got that nickname.
Yeah.
Was Melly a big kid, normal size kid when you guys were in school?
He's small.
Did there come a time that Melly, and when I'm referring to Melly, I'm referring to this young man, Jamil.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Did there come a time that Melly got involved in the music industry?
Yes.
Specifically rap music?
Yeah, back then.
Now, you grew up where?
Vero Beach.
If anybody wants to come on, make sure hit that link. You guys got a lot to say. I'm gonna need y'all to come on here and say what you feel. We at the finish line, guys. Everybody rested their case.
My granddad owns properties, rental properties and stuff, real estate. So we just cut grass, paint, whatever we need to do, keep the properties up.
I want to draw your attention to the year of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
did there come a time that you came down to Broward County, Miramar, Florida?
Yes.
About when was that?
I don't remember exactly, but I want to say probably like September, July, something.
Okay. And where did you stay?
At Jamel's house.
Who else was living at Jamel's house when you came down in August or September of 2018?
Me, Jacoby, Melly, Sat, Julie,
Julie was Christopher Thomas.
yes, Tay, and Courtney.
And was Melly in the rap music business at that time?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Did you all get along together?
Yes.
Were there ever any arguments, fights amongst you guys?
No.
And is that where you met Dontavius Withers?
Yes.
And does he have a nickname?
Tay.
Who was paying the bills at the house?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that it was.
Let's go to the day of October 25th, and so you have an idea where I am. This incident that we're here on occurred in the early morning hours of October 26th. Okay? And I'm referring to the shootings of Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas. On October 25th, the morning of, during the day, what were you doing?
Just chilling at the house, smoking and drinking.
Who were you smoking and drinking with?
Jacoby, Tay, everybody who usually be at the house.
Okay. Williams,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Portland Henry,
Yes.
Trevon Glass,
Yes.
Dontavius Withers.
Yes.
And were there plans to go to a recording studio that evening?
Yes.
Did you in fact go to the recording studio?
Yes.
And that was after you all were, for lack of a better term, smoking dope, weed, correct? And having a few drinks.
Yeah.
What was the drink of choice, out of curiosity?
Hennessy.
Hennessy.
Yeah.
Who all went to the studio?
Me, Jacoby, Melly, Sat, Julie, Courtney, Trayvon, and Tay.
Did you all go in the same car?
No.
Going to the studio, approximately what time did you get there?
I don't remember.
Was it during the day or at night?
At night.
Did you go in the same car, or were there two cars?
We took 2 cars.
What type of cars were they?
So a Jeep and a Mitsubishi.
What color was the
Y'all listen to this part if you didn't listen to it
You
before.
tell this jury who got into the red Mitsubishi to go to the studio.
Me, Jacoby, Tay, and Freddie, Trayvon.
Okay. And who got into the Jeep to go to the studio?
Melly, Sat, Julie, and Boyd.
Who drove? Do you know who drove the Mitsubishi to the studio?
Tay.
That would be Dontavius Withers.
Yeah.
Do you know who drove the Jeep to the studio?
I think Boyd did.
Okay, that would be
Courtney, yeah.
And what was the purpose of going to the studio?
To make music.
Did anyone fall asleep at the studio?
Yes.
Oh,
We all did.
that was from the day of smoking weed and having a few drinks.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Did any arguments occur between any of you at the studio?
Not at all.
Did there come a time that you all left the studio?
Yes.
Did you leave the studio earlier than what was scheduled?
Yeah, I believe so. So we were all in their sleep.
We tell the jury who got into the red Mitsubishi.
Me, Jacoby, Trayvon, and Travius.
You know who got into the Jeep?
Cortland, Jamel, Seth, and Judy.
Where were you going? Did anyone fall asleep in your car?
We about all did except for the driver.
Did there come a time that you were woken up before you got to the house?
Yes.
What happened?
We pulled over, and that's when Melly got in the car with us.
You
Y'all
know
hear that?
where you pulled over?
And I don't really remember.
Were you woken up?
Yeah, but it was like, because I was getting pushed over a little bit.
And are you 100% sure that this young man got into the red Mitsubishi?
Yes.
What happened to the Jeep?
So that was their smoking gun. We were wondering why they only were bringing one person. If you guys just heard it, that was the important part of the testimony, that allegedly, we all know, we saw from the video who got into what car. That's no dispute. It's on video. But what this person is alleging is that they were all asleep and then they pulled over to let Melly in the car. Now, we also just seen in the complaint that according to what this attorney got information, and it sounds like it came from the state, they were saying that the manager came to pick Melly up from the side of the road. And then we got information also during this that I guess allegedly it was supposed to be, I believe, Felicia Holmes, which was the mother of the girlfriend, was supposed to give some type of information that she overheard that Fredo Bang was the one that came and got him. So it's a whole lot of mix, and this dude was calm. You know, I have to give it to, I know everybody's in the chat like, he lying through. Oh, he must have got paid good. I've seen all of those, comments in the chat, but it's all about what the jury believes. It's the credibility, and that's all the defense put on was him. They didn't put on any experts. They didn't try to challenge. Again, they didn't try to challenge like any of the trajectory, whether it was inside the car, outside the car. I think that shocked a lot of us. I thought at minimum they're going to do an expert. They're going to have some expert, but I guess they feel like they don't have to prove that it was a drive-by because they're saying their client was never in the car, because the state never really proved that they were in the car. They proved they got in the car after the studio. They also proved that about the cell tower, sometimes they go to the strongest signal, not necessarily the closer one. They don't know if whatever pings were inside the car or outside the car. There's no definitive science to the whole cell phone tower situation. So they dismantled that. So this is the defense they went with. So yeah. Asia, niece, we were just talking about you. I'm sorry to hear that you were sick. You got to feel better. Were you able to see our smoking gun on today from the defense? So this afternoon, it looks like they're going to do jury instructions. I'm not going to go live for that, but I will watch it just to see what instructions get in. They got to get it together. I'm sure they're objecting. They probably, knowing the defense, they probably have special jury instructions, which is outside the standards, where they got some case law or something where they can add different jury instructions. Jeff said the defense left out a lot of details. They should have asked where and when did they pull over. Well, it's not the defense's burden, so they did just enough. Their thing is to create reasonable doubt. I think the state did ask, the state did ask that question. He said he didn't know. He said he did. I think it was where. I don't know if it was when, but they definitely asked where did you get pulled out? Where did you pull over on the side? And it was like, was there a medium? Was there intersection? She was trying to get specifics, and he was like, he didn't know. Now, one thing he did do that the other witnesses for the state didn't do was when the defense said, if I show you your statement, will it refresh your recollection? Because as you see, he said he woke up because somebody pushed him over. And I guess in whatever statement he gave or deposition or whatever, he said that somebody may have climbed over him, but I think he still was kind of iffy in the statement whether he knew. So she used that to kind of impeach him that his testimony changed. I thought she was going to go harder in the paint, which means that she obviously couldn't get cell phone information that proved him differently. She must not have had video when they came into the complex on who was all in the car and how they got out. She must not have really had what she needed to definitively show that he was not in that car, because her cross was just, I thought she was going to bring it. I was like, oh, she's about to prove him to be a liar. And it just wasn't that strong to me. Yeah, she said they asked where and when, and he said he didn't know, right? Nope, the defense just rested today. Yesterday, the state rested. The defense just started this morning with one witness. Do you think it would be a hung jury? Both sides really don't have enough evidence. I said it in the beginning. I thought it was a hung jury. I think there's going to be a holdout, but that's just my prediction. Asia, it wasn't killing you now. We got to watch the words of our mouth now. It may have been affecting you, may have made you feel bad, but we have to watch. We have power in our tongue. So watch what you say. Wasn't killing you. It was just hurting real bad. So yes, we are praying. Sarah said, I missed everything yesterday. I was in the airport. Well, child, you ain't missed too much. I think the biggest thing was today what I just played, and that's it. And I also went over the lawsuit. So if you just got on her, make sure that you rewind. I'll probably try to edit it a little bit and maybe put it in the membership to just talk about specifically the lawsuit, which I thought was very interesting. The fact it came out in 2020. And this lets me know why people have so much information about this case. Now, Juvie's dad, he about to go live, and he is about to go in on this testimony. His live is about to be lit. So I'm sure Cakes is going to tell me when he goes live, because he is going to go. He is not going to let this testimony just lie. His dad is going to he's going to have something to say for sure. So, hey, Love Jones. See, she the only one like to come on here. Y'all be playing me over here in this chat. They be playing. You see how they do me? They have all this commentary, and then nobody wants to come on when I'm like, hey, here's the link.
And guys. They said they was coming, but they playing with you.
Playing me. I'm like, we're collective here. I'm just the head intellect. Y'all the intellects too. Like, can I get some opinions outside of myself? Jeez.
They some people are shy.
You don't even got a cam up. You know, I'm not telling you to turn your camera on.
I'm gonna say this. The defense, I know some people feel some kind of way, feel like they didn't do enough by just putting that one witness up, but that one witness was weight to me.
Yeah, I
That
agree.
one witness was weight because he was like, he was in the house. He had shorts and a t-shirt on, like the other guy said. Next time I saw him, he was in some different clothes. He had shorts and a t-shirt on. He was looking for his phone. Well, did he use your iPhone to look for his phone? I don't know how that man found his phone. It's a big old house. We moving and shaking. I'm not focused on one particular person, on what they doing, how they doing it, and how they moving.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that one witness was weight
Yeah.
because your whole case was he was in the back seat of the car. That's how he shot. That's how we know he shot him. That was that was it. That and I did that shush.
But we
But
kept saying that. I was like, remember how many times did I say, okay, y'all, I get it. We don't even need to beat a dead horse. We know he got in that car when he left that studio. But what happened in between time in the meantime? I couldn't believe like Cortland and Henry. Maybe they just got a close relationship. Would just say, hey, homie, you get out and you preserve yourself because you the head honcho with the money. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take these two bodies and I'm gonna take the hit. I just listen.
no, bro.
I ain't met no friends like that. I don't even know if I do that for family. I'm gonna be honest.
Mm-mm. You do the crime, you got to do the time. I'm not doing the
Man,
time
listen,
for you.
I always been. I used to tell my friends. First of all, I was scared of my parents more than the police. But I used to tell my friends like, y'all do anything, I'm snitching. So don't just drop me off. If you want to go do a drive by, drop me off first. You want to do any drug deals, drop me off first. Cause your girl snitching. Because I was scared of my daddy, and I was like, I don't even care about the police like that. But I'm scared of that man. So therefore, it dropped me off. So that's crazy. You would pull up with some bodies. I think that's nuts.
But let me tell you this. My mother, I'm gonna tell you how cold my family my family did not play when it that taking charges and stuff for somebody else. I was driving my sister's car and I had a suspended license. But I was driving the car because I was picking up, I didn't have any children. I was picking up both of my sisters, all the kids from school because they were at work. And my mom was like, I can't do it today. I was like, all right, I'm just going to do it. I got in the car. I went and picked up I went to every school, picked up everybody. I got literally across the street from where we live, and the police said, "Whoop." I said, oh no. I don't know. I got all these kids. I got kids and car seats and I would drive and I get there and the police and I ain't gonna lie, I gave him my sister's name because I was like, that Negro got a license. So straight up that I'm her today. And I gave him that and do you know my niece had come out and she was like, there go auntie. And I was like, take your behind back in the house. Go back in the house. And she went back, but she went and told my mom. My sister was home. The one that I used her name, she went and told her. So here they come and they like, what's going on? What's going on? And I'm like, please just walk away. Cause I lied and y'all not gonna back me up. I knew in my heart they wasn't gonna back me up. They came straight over there. My sister said, oh no, that's not her name. I'm her. And I was like, mm,
And people
hmm,
actually do that a lot where they like give their brother name. Like he clean, so he ain't gonna get nothing but a ticket. But with me,
right.
they gonna put me in hand. They gonna put me in them Chanel bracelets. So I'm about to get his name. I paid the ticket, but listen,
That's
that does happen a lot because
let
that's
me tell
that quick
you,
thinking.
my people so cold. My mom looked at me. She looked and oh no, I did have my daughter at that time, but she was a little baby. My mom looked at me. She said, I got her. Don't worry about it. And walked off. Got my baby and walked off. The police said, turn around. I said, but they said, turn around. Yes, sir. All right. I know what I did. And I put my hand behind they gave, I got out on OR. They dropped the charges, all of that. But the the whole thing is I'm not taking the case for nobody because all she had to do was shut up. I would have paid the ticket. But she was like, nope. And she kept saying, that's no, that's me. That's me.
Listen. That's what I couldn't get past in this case. I was like, I don't know not one person. I don't care how hard you are. I don't know one person that's just like, you done straight up off these two people in the car that I'm driving. And I'm just going to say, hey, why don't you call you a ride? Go ahead and call you a lift. I'm going to leave you right over here. And then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do to the body. I'm going to go over here. Then according to the civil lawsuit, they making it seem like they done call all the people to come over and help them cover up and spoil evidence and all of that. They done pulled everybody in it. I'm like, okay. And then he pull up, he's frantic or whatever, and you just taking this L, like two bodies. One is bad enough, but you about to take two. But see, what the prosecution did was when Borland goes to trial, they have all but said he didn't have anything to do with it. Okay, like now he's gonna have to be the one to really show it was a drive-by, probably get an expert and all of that, because he was obviously there. He put himself there. Because
he was singing like a bird.
Yeah, you put yourself on the scene, so you're gonna have to deal with that. But based on the prosecution's own evidence, it helps him to know he wasn't the shooter. At most, he was there when the shots happened, but he wasn't the shooter. So they're not gonna put they already proved that for him in the case with Melly.
Right. And I'm sure his lawyers has taken notes.
Oh yeah, he should be. I wonder where his money and stuff come, because all of them look like they was broke now, based on them asking for haircuts and all of that. Melly seemed like the only one that really had a couple of dollars.
But he was generous. He was sharing that money out.
Lived in the same house and he was paying all the bills.
Yeah.
And 100K track. He was paying for a lot of stuff. Obviously, if you getting them rentals, that's expensive. That car looked like it was lived in. That didn't look like a car. Like, for real, you know how your car is when you got your baby and you got the Cheez-Its and in the back seat. That's how that car was. That ain't seem like no rental. I was like, that's why I kept. Then that's when I think it was my niece said, you looking at it from your perspective because I turned in my rentals pristine. You're not gonna charge me no cleaning free.
Me too.
With the gas on full, I'm one of them. So that's why I was saying that. But he's like, no, these young people get these rentals and they don't give no care. I'm like, because it looked horrible on the end. I mean, not to mention the blood and stuff on the inside. It's just on the floor.
It was trash. It was like shoes.
Because the rental receipt showed a different car. So you just renting a bunch of cars for them. It's too many questions. I think this left you with more questions than answers. So it's gonna be.
I agree with more questions than answers. Cause be real, you could have went and got you a Jeep Compass for what, 15? Right. You could break me off 15 and I could have went and just grabbed you a Jeep Compass. I mean, that's only a year old.
That's an expensive rental though. Like that's not your basic compact car. You gonna have to pay, dang near $100 a day. So you paying the car note in the first week. So
yeah. My point exactly. When you could have just bought I don't understand the rental thing. You could have just picked one. You could have went to a used car lot and got 1 year old and paid. Just got the car and you had transpo back and forth. Yeah. If you on that level and you gonna rent a car, you rent it for an event. You rent a Bugatti for an event that you going to, a big event, something.
Yeah. Yep, Asia, I did see the 100K track interview. I actually posted the link on my community wall for people to see. I saw it this weekend. And he basically said 100K track said that Melly ain't do it. So
he said Melly ain't do it.
Of course,
Borland didn't even put Melly in the car. And then you got old boy that come up here and said, no, he was home with us.
Right.
He had this on. He was looking for his phone. He was this, he was that.
It sounded like reasonable doubt to me, but hey.
But this is where the clash is, though. He's saying that, and it's the same house, and the One-Eyed Jack said something different. One-Eyed Jack, when he said,
he was a person that was facing charges. You
Right.
know, he was the person that, you know, obviously he ain't want to be there, but he was the person on either side. It wasn't even like he was usually one side is more, you know,
They
nice
cool.
to the other. Yeah, like you can tell whoever witness they are, they're cool too. He ain't like he was worse to the defense than he was. No, he was worse to the prosecution. And like all of them was just he was just bad. Like he didn't like any side.
He didn't want. He was like he was like what's the dude that what's the dude that played for the Seahawks? I'm here so I don't get fined. He's like, I'm here so I don't go to jail.
Exactly. That's what he said. He was like, I wish I'd have smoked some weed so I could, you know. So Trayvon, did he say that he wasn't in the car with him? Is that what he testified? That he wasn't in the car?
No, he said he was in the red car, but he didn't say. She didn't ask him nothing. Well, she asked him who was in the car. He only said the four people, and he said, I don't know nothing else. I went upstairs and got in the bed.
No, what I'm asking is the pulling
Marshawn
over
Lynch.
part. Unless he's saying he was asleep, that maybe that's why the defense emphasized the fact that they all were asleep in the car, because perhaps he would have been asleep, Trayvon, depending on whatever position he was in, he would have been asleep and didn't know that they pulled over and Melly got
Okay, well, okay, Pam. I'm trying to go with you with that, but I'm gonna ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
If you in the car, you riding in the car with your besties, your day ones, your ace boon coons. I'm talking. You hear me? And the car pulls over and stop. You open your eyes.
I can't say I always do, child.
Oh, I open mine. I wants to know. Maybe I lived a different life than you.
I am. It depends. I've woken up and my husband have been out the car and went and got food and everything. And they don't sleep. So I ain't a good person for that. You might want to ask the other intellects because your girl be sleeping if I'm comfortable. Now, if I don't trust your driving, I ain't closing out now. I'm barely.
Okay. But I'm saying friends. I'm not talking. See, your husband. That's a whole different level of trust.
Yeah, I say like my best friend. I've done it, but I've been, I was probably had a couple drinks or something.
I'm opening my. If I don't do nothing but crack one eyeball, I just need to see where I am at the very least. You know what I mean? Especially I'm on the freeway and we pulling over. Shorty, we on the freeway. We don't pull over on the freeway unless we got a flat. We done had an accident, or you know what I'm saying?
Or the police pulled you over.
Or the police pulled me over.
I have woken up to being asleep and the police over there talking, but I'm just saying I ain't know how long we was pulled over.
Ooh, Pam, I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna need your awareness. To tick up about 2 points. I'm
very aware that I could pick anybody out of a lineup. I'm just if I go to sleep. Oh, child, I know what you got. I know all of that.
Her shoestrings was blue with yellow tips. I remember.
Listen, I know all that. Yeah, but no, it just is a comfort level. Like I said, if my husband is driving or something, I ain't getting up. I'm asleep. So
yeah, I can get that with you. I'm just maybe I lived a little different life. I just Compton, South Central, Carson, and I live it. You got to be on the swivel.
Yeah, I get it. It's a comfort level, but I don't go to sleep with everybody either.
Right.
9 times out of 10. I mean, heck, if it's a shootout or something, if my husband is the one driving, he probably gonna cover us all anyway. And then I'm gonna wake up to bullet holes, and he gonna tell me later what happened. What happened?
I tell you what, if a bullet come in the car and you still sleep, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I'm putting you in a closet somewhere and laying you out.
Holding his arm, I'll be like, what happened? You ain't seen they came up on your side, I jumped over and covered your face.
If you still sleep, we got a problem. we got a problem. I know you comfortable with your husband, but geez.
Right now. So gunshot, and you got to be a little bit more than gunshots to wake me up. Because other than that, I would have got no sleep in my life.
My God. But you on a whole nother level. I pray that one day I can get to that level of comfortability. Because let me tell you something. If the firecrackers is too close to my house, I'm on alert. I'm like, wait a minute, was that a firecracker or was somebody shooting? Let me hold on.
Now
You
I
know?
can say though, when he's not around, my stuff is heightened. So, like for
Yeah.
instance, about a month ago, I took my daughter to the dentist, and it was a guy. I guess he was having a mental or psychotic break, and he just hit the window real hard. And I didn't know that he had been doing that all day. So everybody that came in, my back was turned to the window. It was like an all glass
Mm.
window. And so I grabbed my daughter so fast and dang there hit that floor, went like where my son was, and he was like, she's like, it's okay. He scared the crap out of me earlier. I think he's having some type of psychosis. We're gonna call the police because he keeps doing that. Now that's like a whole that when I'm out by myself, I think I'm heightened. Like everything is heightened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a level, I guess, of comfortability in the car. And I don't he drives most of the time. I only drive if I got to when he's like, listen, I done drove at 5 days in a row. You think you can
Right. It's your turn.
right.
It's your turn. But I just honestly, after going through this entire case, I think and for me going back and watching that opening that I had missed, when she introduced I did that,
Mm-hmm.
she left it so dry that you had to like think, okay, did she just introduce it? Because she dropped it and walked
And
away.
left away. She wanted that to be her mic drop. Like that's
But
how.
she didn't make it impactful.
And then it is I didn't like the cross on that. I didn't like the defense worrying about whether it said THAT and DAT. I was like, why is that? He was
Doesn't
just too
matter.
aggressive yesterday. He needed some chill. He just was just way too. I get
He had too many Red
cross.
Bulls or something in his coffee. I don't know what was going on with him.
Yeah. Let me
He
drink.
was on he's but the thing is he started on 10 and then he ended on like 6.
I think somebody might have told him because he did try, but it was almost like he was so excited or something. I don't know. It was too much. Like you don't have no reason. You were treating the witness like a hostile witness or something, and he was just chilling like, no, sir. No,
Right.
never
You
had
it's that's like watching somebody yell. They yelling in your face and you talking to them like we're speaking right now. And it's like, excuse me?
Mhm. It just wasn't necessary. There's a time and a place where you get slick. Like you ask them a question, did you go to the store? And they go and they tell you, well, I woke up in the morning and my daughter was crying, so I took her to the bathroom and then I did so and so. And you sit there and listen. You're like, okay, thank you so much for all of that information, but can you answer my question now? This was a yes or no question. Did you or did you not go to the store? You say things that seem like you getting slick, to keep them on point because that's all you have is cross-examination. However, all of that getting all just attitudey and all of that, it just seems like you have something that you're hiding. Like something
Right.
trying to I don't know, it just gave me a different vibe. I think because if you listen to DLK, the way he does his cross, that's what I liked about him. He said things like, so you're basically in your embryonic stage, right? Like he'll say things that was like, oh, that was good. Like you slid that in. But he was cool about it. He wasn't like trying to get all rah-rah. Like he was just so rah-rah and hype. I couldn't get past his elevated voice.
Exactly. Exactly. Because the thing is a lot of the questions that he was asking, I was literally sitting over here going, it's a yes or no question. It's a yes or no question, sir. I need you to give me a yes or no. I need you not to elaborate on my questions. Give me a yes or give me a no.
And
I'm going
that's
to
how
ask the question again, and that's what I would like, a yes or a no. And
but
then I was over here trying to be a lawyer, I guess.
you also have to be careful too with how you do cross. I think you want to elicit yes or no questions. If they want to elaborate, typically the other side will have them elaborate. So she'll say, remember when you were going to say because, you know,
Oh yeah.
because that's all we want is to tell our story. He wasn't there. You have no video, right? Yes. You have no DNA. Yes. You have no other evidence against my client, right? No, but you have the DNA of this person. But you have, you know what I'm saying? All we want to do is elicit a bunch of yes, and it's so straight, cut, and succinct. You know what I'm saying? But then they're going to get up and say, isn't there a reason why you don't have blah, blah, blah? Then they can elaborate. But your job on cross is you're eliciting yes, you're telling the story. You're trying to get the jury to hear your story. And the best way to do it is succinct, where you're leading and they answer yes or no. And honestly, oftentimes you really don't even care what their response is, because they hear your question because you get to lead. That's why
Yeah.
direct, you always object, because they're not allowed to lead and say, and you were sick that day, right? No, this is your question. You have to ask, how were you feeling that day? You have to ask an open-ended question to see what their answer is. I can tell you what I want your answer to be, and you
Yep.
answer yes or no.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Pam, let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
You have taught me so much because I'm watching more than one trial. I watched the trial of the Border Patrol in El Paso that killed his mistress and and their baby.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching that trial. I was watching that trial last night. They came midnight. They came back with a verdict of life without parole. But yeah, I'm up. I'm addicted. I got a problem now. I don't know why I even mess with you. But when the prosecution and the defense, when they're questioning it, because I watch you, I'm like, objection, objection, leading. That is a leading question. You are a prosecutor. You cannot. I'm talking to my TV. I'm talking to my TV,
That's
Pam.
dope. I'm good. I'm glad that it has an impact. That's my point. I think people watch Law and Order, you watch, and they have these ex parte. I used to I'll tell my husband all the time, like, you don't do that. Like, it's hard for me to watch those type of shows, because I know it doesn't work that way. You're not having ex parte communication, talking to the judge in the bathroom while he's washing his hands. Like, stuff like that don't happen. You don't have those type of ex parte communications. You can't talk to the judge without the other side. And then just an objection, and that's all they say, but they don't have to qualify what their objection is. As you've seen in this case, you have to qualify. He's going to say, what's the source of your objection? And if it's going to be where you have to explain it, they sidebar, because you don't want the jury to hear what the explanation is.
Right.
It's just hearsay or something like that, then yeah, you can just say hearsay because it's what somebody else said. But I think that was the hardest thing. Like I told you guys before, was evidence was probably my hardest class, because you do just know something is wrong, but now you got to know what your basis is. You have to really know what the basis is. Look at Cakes and came on in the house. She the man.
Hey, sugar cakes.
Hey,
Look
girl.
at this. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey,
What you think?
child, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think that well, hey everybody, hey y'all.
Hey.
Um I think Christine should have did a little more cooking on this last witness, because she had so much she could have put back on him, because Little Predator number two, their stories don't match. Um Trayvon, that's his name. Trayvon, Mr. Glass, Mr. Glass. Uh, I don't know if they had enough. I mean, if we talk about reasonable doubt, there's enough reasonable doubt to walk this young man. To me, to me. Um, but I don't know. I guess it just all depends on what kind of jurors they got in there. Um, what kind of if they got moms in the room, if they have emotional moms that are in the room that they may have sons that are that age. Like it's so many factors. I'm not sure. If it was me, I would be all over the place, confused. I'd be the one holding up the jury, talking about well, listen, I've been over there at Pam house, and she been teaching me how to be a lawyer, and So I'm gonna go take the bar after this. Oh, and y'all, I was playing the other day when I said I was gonna take the bar. I was just talking about because we done learned so much in this trial. I was playing, y'all. I am not in law school. I am not. I'm in the law school of Pam and the intellects. Okay, that's the law school I'm in right now. But
You and me both.
And you
I'm
know
really not sure. I'm really not sure. Like, if we doing reasonable doubt and we going off what you taught us, I would have to say probably not guilty right now because they have not placed him in the car. They don't have the weapon. Now we talking about he was in the house. He wasn't in the house. He changed clothes. He didn't change clothes. He was in the red car. He was in the gray car. It's so much stuff.
it's gonna
Oh
lean
my
on
God.
credibility. If this guy, this last guy, that well, the only witness that the defense had, if they believe him, it's a wrap. That's why I said it's gonna hinge on credibility. So if it's one, two people that believe him, and definitely the fact that the death penalty is on the table, I
Yeah.
wouldn't feel comfortable as a juror putting nobody. It's too iffy. Like for appellate purposes, if you put somebody on death row and then you find out 30 years later that they didn't do it, you can't, revive anybody. That's the only thing about it.
Right.
Unless they on camera and I see they did it and you got it on camera or they confess, I just really have an issue with the death penalty just because of so many wrongful convictions.
That's one of the things that for me I look at, and I have been keeping that kind of like in the back of my mind that this is a death penalty case. So it's like that's also a weight to carry because it's like you want me to convict him on all this circumstantial evidence
Yeah.
that you have presented me, and even you as a prosecutor has contradicted yourself at some points. So it's like I want to believe you as a prosecutor, but I can't really trust you as a prosecutor because you have even contradicted yourself
Yeah.
from one witness to another, or one of your witnesses is saying one thing and you put up another witness on that same playing field that says something different, like those autopsy doctors, the people, whatever you call them. The one lady is saying, oh, we can't determine any of that. Then you bring up another one right behind her and say, oh, yes, absolutely. It was 3 to 6 inches from his head. It was this. And the other lady is like, yeah, I can't say how far without having the gun, without having this, without having that. So you have two different, they in the same profession doing the exact same job, just on the two different victims, and one is saying it's this, and the other one saying it can absolutely not be determined. So it's like, which one do you believe? And these are your witnesses.
Yeah.
And then that last guy you put up,
Sterling.
you did a depot on him. And everything that they said, he had already told you.
Yeah. Ruby Sterling said the state did a great job proving there wasn't a drive-by shooting and that the shooting happened inside the car. They didn't place Melly in the car. That's the problem. That's
That's
why
the
I
whole
said
problem.
to me, I can totally see with Bortland, but they also said Bortland didn't do it. He did. The state said it wasn't Bortland, so they have him on like a conspiracy or something because they're making it as if he covered it up for Melly. But if Melly is found not guilty, how will that affect his case?
Who you pick now? I think it
The
was
state already picked a side in their presentation. They
I
said
think it was a
they know
little
that
bit
he didn't
easier
do
for them because he had past charges with a gun. You know what I mean? That what you were reading in that case that you brought up
it. Mm-hmm.
when you were reading, he has a past history. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, but
this one,
carrying a gun actually unaliving people is very one might carry 2 years or probation to 2 years, and one get your life without parole or the death penalty.
right,
Those
right,
are very drastic. There's a drastic difference in the penalties for those. So just because you carry, I know a lot of people that carry, they may have gotten a felony that's just, from back in the day or something when they was younger. So a lot of people around here carry, but they ain't going around just powing people. They just
exactly.
people are, they know how dangerous it is out here, so they're carrying for that purpose. So to me, that's just different. You can't just assume because somebody got, and that's what they do. That's how a lot of wrongful convictions happen. Is they'll look like, oh, he was the drug dealer on the corner anyway, so he probably was the one that did it because this happened at a drug house, so he the one that did it, and which has happened a lot where I'm at. But it's like there's a difference between selling somebody a dime bag and actually blowing somebody's head off. Like, can we agree that that's different? It takes a different heart for that. It's a whole different heart.
Yeah.
I have a
Like
question.
around here, it used to be where you didn't sell to each other's mamas. Like they had rules in the neighborhood. You ain't sell to people's mamas and aunties and grandmas. If they was on drugs, they had to go to the other side. If you was on the east side, they had to go to the west side. So they even had rules. So they even say like just because you're doing one crime, we're just gonna assume that you'll do another one. It's just bad to me.
I agree 100% because it was is. I mean, I carry. Shit, I live in Texas.
Me
Hello.
too. You got to
I
carry in this state.
you
You
got
have to.
to carry.
You have to
And
carry in this
I'm
state.
gonna tell you a
So,
funny story. When I moved from California, and I we don't carry in Cali. Well, we carry, but we don't carry legally in California. But when I got here, I came here and I was excited to get some Bluebell. Don't sell Bluebell in California. I wanted some Bluebell ice cream because it is really good.
oh,
So
bless
I
God.
got here, yes, and the next day I went to Walmart to go get some Bluebell. And I go down the aisle, I'm excited. I'm looking at all the flavors. I'm like, ooh, yes. Let's see. I look to the right, and this older white man, and he had on the cowboy hat, but he had one on each side. He had one. He had one on each side. I was so uncomfortable being in that store. I forgot about the Bluebell. And then he said, it's a lot of ice cream. I said, yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. He said, you don't have an accent. I said, no, I'm not from here. I was just looking at the ice cream. He said, well, pick a good one.
Pick a
Yes.
good one.
I left, I left the store with no ice cream, no checking out, no nothing. I left as empty as I came in. I was like, okay, so we just carrying guns in Walmart in the open. This is how we do right here. So that's what I realized. I was like, okay, so they popping out here. It's cowboys for real. I need to become a cowgirl. Let's get it popping. Let's go through the process. And after I get my license to
Some classes,
carry, but
huh? Yeah.
after I get it, then all of a sudden you ain't even gotta have a license anymore. You could just go down the street, pick up a gun, and you good.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to put no holes in nobody. Now to protect myself and mine, if I gotta do what I gotta do, I gotta do what I gotta do. But I'm not here to just be out there pow-powing people. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I do carry.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a different heart because sometimes I look at people and I'm like,
Oh,
how could you just do that? You know what I mean? I mean, even if you're mad, how could you do that?
yeah.
I think it takes a lot. Even with police officers, they'll tell you like when they have to use, and they're trained for it, but when they have to use, they send them to therapy. They got psychiatrists on site for stuff like that. You have to automatically take time out. I mean, it affects them when they actually have to use their weapons. So
I feel like if you drive in Texas, you just need therapy, period. They can't drive out here. They can't. And if you carry, you gotta know, you gotta have some right mind about you because these people cannot drive
Yes.
and they crazy and they
Yes.
cut you off. They child. Mm-mm.
I
I
was here
think they
two
just need to
months and
include therapy
45
with
there
their
was a
driver's
shooting.
license out here.
hmm I was here two
But,
months and on the 45, this lady cut off this man and he shot her in the head. I
oh
was
my
like, cause
mhm,
she cut you off?
mhm.
Bro, it took me 3 years to get on the 45. I took every other way to get where I needed to go, not to get on the 45.
Okay, Pam, I got a question.
yeah.
Oh Lord, niece. Pam, I got a question. So,
Yeah.
as a defense lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
this attitude that Sunroof had, is that some kind of tactic? Like, I just don't
I told you
understand
it was too
this
much. Like
attitude that he
I've seen a level of theatrics and drama. There are a lot of attorneys that have taken theater in undergrad. You'd be surprised.
had.
A
Because
lot of people
that
don't know.
man was on his good Perry Mason, his
Right.
good
He was
Matlock.
really
You know,
tripping.
he
He
was,
was overboard though. He knew he was overboard.
but
Yeah.
when he slammed his hand on that podium yesterday, I fell out on the floor laughing. I was like,
Oh
what is he
yeah.
doing? What is that supposed to do, sir?
Well, I've been
What's happening?
dramatic. Like I've been dramatic. Like I have like orchestrated when I'm gonna take my glasses off and swing them on the table because I'm just disgusted that you saying this about my client. It's little things I've orchestrated that I've done. But that right there is just a whole nother level. He was just so you couldn't see past the angle where the judge was like, all right, be cool. Like, be easy, buddy. You getting a little bit carried away. It's like the judge was telling them that. So it was just just too much. But I get it, to me it was just beyond theater. To me he was just it was too much. I thought it was too much, but hopefully he was effective and wasn't offensive. Hopefully they start and whoever does closing says, hey, if you don't like me as a lawyer, you don't like me as a person, please don't hold it against my client. Hey, I'm just a human. I fight zealously for my client. I'm an advocate, and sometimes I get carried away with my passion. So please don't hold that against my client and focus on the evidence. Focus on the prosecution that did not prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. It's their burden. They didn't do it. So bypass I was just honestly, jurors, I was just flabbergasted that my client has been in jail for 5 years and this is the evidence they had. 2 months ago, they're interviewing people. They found all of a sudden they miraculous find DNA. They're going through all of this stuff. They have all these repeat witnesses. Had you sitting here for 5 days to not even say nothing but the same thing over and over again. And I just,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like he could work that in if he does closing. But yeah.
Oh, I had another question and I just forgot it. Hold on. My old brain. Hold on, y'all. I'm figured out.
Girl, she always saying her old brain like she
Right.
92 years
Listen,
old.
I
I mean, she
am.
go
I am
somewhere with that
92.
sugar cakes. Come on now.
Oh my goodness. Where's my
No,
place?
I didn't take theater, but I do know a couple of a few of the high profile attorneys here. Their major was theater, and then I found out there were a lot of because you can do ballet and go to law school. You just need a degree. You don't except if you do like patent. I think you have to have biology, like a biology major. But for the most part, you don't have to have you can go for whatever. I was a political science major. A lot of people are political science. But go for something. I tell them do a passion that if you don't want to be a lawyer anymore or you don't want to be one after a certain amount of years, say some people just want to do 10 years and be done, you can fall back on your degree. That's how I wish somebody told me that because I wouldn't have did political science because I don't want to be a politician. So there's that. I'll probably do consulting or something like that or help with a political campaign like what some of my friends do. But that's just not anything
That's good money there, fam.
you can literally do like what you want to in undergrad. So always think about if you want to go to law school that your undergrad degree is something you would want to do if you're not using your Juris Doctorate or you're not using your license if you become licensed or whatever to practice. Because some people go to law school and they never become licensed to practice. They just use their Juris Doctorate. They might work for the government. They might teach. Being a professor can bring you a lot of money. I have professors where the schools paid their kids to go to whatever school, whatever college in the country they wanted to go to. So she had 2 kids because she's a tenure professor go to Yale for free on the college, so because she was. So it has its perks where everybody doesn't practice. Everybody does not go, and everybody can't pass the bar either. That's another thing. So.
I'm gonna need you to keep dropping this knowledge, Pam, because you know what? No, I'm serious because the thing is a lot of people come in and listen to you, and you drop a lot of knowledge that they either their parents don't know to provide them, or they're not in a certain environment that they have those opportunities, or nobody's around that can tell them this. Keep dropping that knowledge because the things that you say, I wish someone would have told me when I was younger. I might have taken a different path, because now that I'm older, seasoned, I'm not like Cupcake. Sugar Cake, she keep calling herself old.
I
Now
am
that I
old.
am seasoned, you know, I don't look at those. I look at, I missed a lot of opportunities, or a lot of things that I didn't recognize I had a passion for at a young age, because I didn't even know it was an option. So I just say keep dropping that knowledge, because people listen to you and they're like, they start thinking about it, because I think I was like, I'd have been a hell of a lawyer if that was where my focus is, because I'm big on detail and my memory is a beast. So it's like I'm big on. I was like, man, even if it's not a lawyer, something in that vein, I think I could have been successful in.
Well, don't let people project their fears on you. Like, I was the first lawyer in my family. I didn't have anybody to glean on. I didn't have, like, I had a bunch of legacy people. We took trial skills. They looked like they've been doing it since birth because they were around their parents who did it. I didn't have that. But don't let people project, the first thing they'll tell you, you're preparing for the bar. Girl, most people don't even pass the first time. So don't feel bad if you don't pass. I'm like, what type of advice is that? No, I ain't trying to study for this again. So I'm not just gonna pass. I'm about to be one of the top in my, in the class for that year. And that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I passed the first time. Don't let people project it on you. And then I didn't do very well in undergrad either. I did well. I went to law school with them keeping an eye on me because I didn't do that well in undergrad. They took a chance with me, but I excelled and graduated cum laude in law school. So sometimes, don't let people
You better
project.
be smart, Pam. Yes, come on. Cum
I'm
laude.
just saying. I was on law review. Don't get it twisted now. I was booking classes. When you book a class, that means you had the highest grade in the class. I done booked.
Come on.
Oh,
Shoot. Play with somebody else now. I did my
come
thing.
on, YNW Smarty Pants. You better do it.
Wait a minute. And I did it with kids. And
Come
I
on.
did it working a full-time job. I went to law school on the weekends. I went to law school
Really?
Sunday. I graduated in 3 years when I went, and I didn't go till I was in my 30s. So all of that you go right after grad, don't let people project their fears on you. Don't do that. Don't, if that's what you feel like you're called to do. I had somebody in my class who had 5 kids, and she went to law school after her 5 kids were grown because her husband said, "Nah, this about you since you raised our kids." I graduated with somebody whose father and son, they both went. He was like 65 and always wanted to be an attorney.
Really?
Our color, but you know what I'm saying? Our color, we always say it's too late. We waited too late. We wish you would have did it earlier. No, sometimes I think I was more mature when I was older to go, where if I would have went when I was in my 20s, I probably would have goofed off like I did in undergrad. I goofed off. I changed my major. I was going to be a sociologist. I was going to do psychology. I was going to do poli. Girl, I ended up being a political science major because I was like, listen, I'm tired of being in school. How many more classes I need in what area?
What can get me out the fastest?
They said you need 2 more classes for you to graduate with a political science degree. I said, so that's how I picked my major. So,
Well, shout out to you and all of this black excellence you dropping on us, though. Yes, ma'am. Come on,
Pam,
black
you
excellence. You better
gonna mess
do it.
around and have me sitting over here studying and getting me a degree and be like, Pam, I'm moving to the Detroit area. You need any assistance? I need to get
child,
my
I
feet
might be
wet.
gone by then, but you go ahead, I'm trying to get out of here. I'm trying to see where I've been practicing. Like, I've done cases in Georgia. I like Georgia, but my allergies don't like Georgia. California is cool. I like, they have a lot of the whole high profile stuff, but I do a lot of stuff in federal court now, so I can pretty much travel and go to different states. So it's really about, seeing where my family is going to be at, but I'm probably not going
Yeah.
to be here, That's why I just expanded to make sure I knew federal, because it's easier to get sworn into federal court after you've already been practicing in the state. And it's easy for me to get reciprocity with other states. You just have to pass character and fitness. There's some states you can't just waive in. California, Florida, I think they don't let you just waive in. You got to sit for their bar, period. But there are a lot. I think I have about 30 states because I've been practicing long enough that if I wanted to practice there, I could just waive in. And as long as I pass their character and fitness, I'm good without having to retake the bar.
Okay.
Pam, the YNW intellects want to pay you to teach them the classes and things.
You know what?
That's what they're saying in the chat.
You know what? And then some people, like when I started out, because I had kids and people were projecting that on me, I wanted to be a paralegal. So I went to school to be a paralegal, and I interned for an attorney who was like, you should think about going to law school. I said, child, I don't want to put that time in for law school. I see how hard you work. I'm good. I just write these briefs and I'll do whatever for you or whatever. And then I realized how important the paralegal was doing a lot of the work for the attorneys. They just got the bar card to go to court and argue. Child, she sent me that little invoice where I was like, oh, she paid me and she didn't have to. It was an intern. I was like, oh, this is good money. Child, I saw that invoice she got for the work I did and she used it like 5 times. I said, oh, I'm going to law school. You're not making this type of money off of me.
Mm-hmm. That's like doctors and nurses.
Child, I had like literally 2 classes because they felt so bad that I was leaving because I was 2 classes away from getting my paralegal certification. I got into law school that January. They offered me a partial scholarship and I had 2 classes. I dropped out of my paralegal because I was doing it at a university. I dropped out of that whole class and I was like, and I was outside. I already had my bachelor's degree. I was just going for this like certification. And I dropped that mug and they were trying to see, like, we want you to do dual because you didn't, went through all of this. You've been here for 2 years. We still want you to get your certification. I was like, I don't care about no paralegal certification. I'm about to go be a lawyer. I was like, deuces, and I left. It was so random. I literally just 1 December, I said, let me go ahead and take the LSAT. And then I was like, oh, I did okay on this. Took the LSAT, started like applying for schools around here. And as soon as the one bitten was like, you could start next month. I was like, so it was so fast that I think my family didn't even believe that I was in law school, probably until the day of my graduation. They probably was like, yeah, we got to get this girl some help because I don't know how all of a sudden she in law school.
Right. Her fantasy world is
right.
big.
Because that's how it happened. It wouldn't make sense to the average person. It just wouldn't make sense. My journey wouldn't make sense to the average person at all. So don't let people project their feelings on you. If it's something that you feel like that you're called to do, then you go ahead and do it.
I gotta quit talking to you, Pam. I'm gonna have to cut you off now.
No, let this therapy session happen.
I'm gonna have to cut Pam off. Pam gonna have me in a whole class sitting up here online. I got a paper to turn in. I can't.
They got them online too now while you're playing. They got some of these classes online. You don't even have to go into the building. But yeah, it's a lot. But
so
you should have an online school.
I got a question. I'm trying to go back to this old crazy case. I remember one of them cases. I think it was that XXX child. I remember they told the jury they could not take notes. Is that in every trial?
No, it's discretionary to the judge.
I wonder if they can take notes.
Some judges don't like you taking notes because they feel like, and it happens to us. If you're not a note taker, that's why it's always good when you're an attorney to have someone next to you. Your paralegal. My paralegal used to go to trials with me all the time because you can be taking notes where while you're trying to get your thought out, the way people talk, you're on to the next thing and you didn't even hear the next thing. You just trying to figure out the first thing you're trying to write down. So it's really up to a jury. You have some attorneys that don't want them to take notes or some that ask to take notes, but it's up to the judge whether they allow you to take it or not. I think a lot of times they feel like notes are a distraction.
Child, I would need all the notes in this thing because
and you gotta know or you got some people that probably, maybe they can't write. Maybe they don't comprehend. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but the thing is like for a really long trial with a lot of information, how do you expect a person to, I mean, everybody doesn't have the greatest memory. So how do you expect a person to remember, the prosecution rests, now the defense is putting on another 12 days, and I'm supposed to remember the last 16 days that the prosecution had.
Right.
So, with no notes, it'd be like, when I go to the jury room, it's like, let's see what somebody throw out, because I do not remember what had happened.
But see, that's why too you have jurors. We try to get into the minor jurors because they can ask to see certain evidence. So they might say, "Can I see the transcript of the testimony?" So, say for instance, they say the jury went out and they sent a note and they want the transcript of the guy that just testified for the defense. In our mind, we're like, "Oh, they're placing weight on that." If you guys watch like the Tory Lanez coverage that I did, when they wanted Kelsey's transcript from when she was interviewed, I knew he was going to be found guilty, because I was like, they're really focusing on her testimony, or they're focusing on certain things. So you can ask for certain evidence to come back in the room. Now, demonstrative evidence, unless both sides agree, you can't. That's just, say somebody's talking about, it was a model of a skeleton and they were showing where the bullet went in and out or something like that. Those typically don't go in the back unless you agree on both sides. But most evidence the jury can say they want to see it.
Now, does that include video?
Yeah, they can ask to replay the video. They can ask to look at the text messages. I don't know if they would, because it was like 70,000 pages.
Ain't no way
nobody want no text messages.
Especially them 5,000 million 100 pictures they put up there, trying to prove that this was this boy phone. I couldn't do that. I couldn't sit for that.
They also didn't allow note taking during the Murdaugh trial. Okay.
That's what it was that I remember. It was a Murdaugh trial. That's what it was, where they couldn't take the notes. Mm-hmm.
I think to let the jury review the records on the court reporter. Yeah. They'll let them get the court reporter, make sure the transcripts are transcribed so they can look at the transcripts most of the time. Oh,
okay. Well, then that helps, because I couldn't remember all these 16 days. We didn't have breaks. We didn't had. That was my question. And I remember my question from a minute ago. I had to stop, y'all. Okay, I might have to ask this question to Love Jones, because I don't know if Pam can answer this as a defense attorney, but maybe she can. I don't know. So do y'all think that Big Ange really got sick, or was she playing a game because they was really trying to get that evidence thrown out?
I'm not about to talk about my sister counseling.
So, Love Jones, do you think Big Ange was playing games when she got sick, because they kept trying to stop that?
Well,
Sister Christine from saying what she was trying to get up in there.
I'm gonna say this: it was a convenient spot.
Mm-hmm.
Her illness was placed at a convenient spot. Because I was like, ooh, let them sit. Oh, we're going to break this up. I was like, that's convenient. But at the same time, I'm like, and so what I did is I went back and rewatched I rewinded and see if, the camera pan over there earlier and how she was looking earlier. And she was popping in whatever she be popping in her mouth. I don't know if it's gum, candy, Tic Tac. I don't know. But my observation. This is not Pam. This is not Cakes. Sugar Cakes ain't said this. Lil Jones said this. She looked just fine to me. I mean, she wasn't sitting there like, oh my God, my head is killing me. You know how you do kind of like a long blink, or if you could just close your eyes for 5 seconds, maybe you get better. No, she didn't give me none of that. She didn't, she was over there popping whatever it is her and Melly be popping in their mouth, because they constantly popping something in their mouth. I'm like, is it now laters? Are you sucking on a now later? What you doing? Is it Jolly Ranchers? But they always popping something in their mouth. And she was just sitting there and just chilling.
On both sides, though, because the prosecutor, remember, she lost her voice and she had to have the other lady. So,
but see, that prosecutor, she didn't give a damn if she lost her voice. She just went over there and whispered to the sister, right, with when it was her time. all of a sudden she had these curls in her weave. I was like, you ain't got. You knew you was gonna be up here because all of a
You
sudden
know
I see
what?
curls going down your back, baby. Go ahead.
You
But she
got
could
her
just
hair was
whisper to
done.
her and say, I need you to do this, 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 this. I need you to do this, this, this. But I think they counted on Big Ange to take certain kind of notes because it seems like she has like a specialty in certain items, in certain areas regarding phones and data and all that, because that's usually when she spoke, is when it came to data in regards to them phones, when it came to all of that kind of stuff. So they needed her to be there for that. And so it was like, look, Melly, we need a break, bro. So Big Ann, she ain't feeling too well. Do you agree? You know, and then they took it to the judge, and they like, look, we already talked to Melly. I know he ain't here, but you can ask him when he come back in. We already talked to Melly, and she ain't feeling good either. And I think I got a cough, so you know, it was kind of convenient for me.
And Biggie, she never came back either. They was like, we can get her, but she's outside in the hallway. You know, I don't know. And then just on another note, I think the prosecution, they had a couple of good witnesses, but for the most part, their witnesses was kind of whack. Like the gang expert, and all of that. I just think that some of that stuff was whack.
As a juror, I would throw his whole testimony in the trash. I would. I really would.
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay, so Pam, you know I watched the hood chat, right?
Mhm.
And I see a comment. They're saying that Mr. Davis was lying about Melly being in the car with them because Bun Bun put him on FaceTime with the phone Fredo was on, an 8-minute call with Melly after the murders, and he was dropping his location, and his phone was supposedly lost. What
Yeah,
y'all
but
think?
the problem with that is if that was admissible evidence, the prosecutor would have put that in. That's a good contradiction. That's why when I saw that screenshot over there, I'm like, okay, well, the prosecution was going to try to put it in because it does show that he wasn't, even if it was deemed inadmissible, I think they had a problem getting it in or something. I don't know. Cause I know that's what Bun Bun was supposed, her testimony was supposed to be geared towards, was that call with the, but again, that just makes another person. We got this complaint that says it was Francois that picked them up. Then we have,
Right.
you know, him saying that it was,
Frito,
you know, Fredo. Then
whatever his name is.
yeah. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. If the prosecution was able to put that type of evidence in, I think they would have. So but anyway, y'all, we coming on 2 hours, so I'm about to get up
Yeah.
here. It's
Yeah.
been fun. Y'all make sure you keep up. We'll come on and maybe we'll do the same chat tomorrow because they're not about to be striking my channel for no Melly because he gonna be out making millions or something or whatever his fate is, and then I'm gonna be over here trying to do a backup page telling y'all.
Pam, you got hundreds of thousands of dollars. You
Yeah,
don't do that. Don't sit here
you
acting like
heavy in
you
the
know
pot.
make hundreds of thousands of dollars off greasy. You know,
I
Pam,
said, look,
why you
YouTube only had to tell me once. They sent me 4 emails, texts. I had a cold go across. I said, listen, that's all right. I'm cool. I said, I know law and order. Law and crime ain't playing me like this. I've been doing this since the beginning of the trial, and I'm not the only one. There are people that stream law and crime all the time because I watch
All the time.
their platform. I'm
I
like,
do too.
why did this happen to me? So it probably was just that documentary. But I have to do everything in abundance of caution. This whole case will be over with, and I'll be sitting there waiting so I can go live again. I'm not doing it.
Oh, okay.
Come
Because
on
I was
over
gonna
here.
ask you. I was gonna ask you. You know, I mean, I've been watching since the beginning. I'm like, okay, why you strike now on this day when okay,
was
1, 2, what happened?
definitely
1, 2, 3,
that
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
documentary.
10.
Yeah, it was definitely a documentary. Law and
Yeah,
Crime got the strike from YouTube, and
yeah,
so did
theirs went
the
out
hood
too.
chat.
All
They
of
got
ours
one
went out.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that was streaming it today got their strike once they played that
Oh,
Yeah.
documentary in full sound. The thing is, all the videos and stuff they were playing it through an alternative sound, so YouTube couldn't pick it up like that. But they played this video through full sound, through Law and Crime Sound Plug or whatever it was, so they YouTube could hear it loud and clear, and so it caught it.
Mm-hmm.
oh, well, that
Yeah, I am,
okay.
Tiana. I am going to. I kept saying I was gonna do a backup channel, but I'm gonna start one. I'm gonna put it on my page because yeah,
We
that was.
just don't need y'all to become a member and let Pam go in
Thank
members
you.
only and go live in members only, and y'all come
Yeah.
over there, and then we can have a party over there.
Let me tell.
Just
Let me
saying.
give y'all people a little. Let me drop a little something for the chat. Y'all become a member. Pam
Mm,
be dropping jewels on the back on the membership page. Y'all
hallelujah.
miss out on a lot of info by not being a member. Being a member is a valuable thing. I will renew. I will not go away. I started off as a gift and I am locked in because she dropped stuff over there that here on the in the general area in Gen Pop you don't get. You got to go on into the pod. When you get into the pod, you get all the tea. So
Mhm.
if you, I'm advising you to become a member. It is a valuable resource. You can get some good info back there in the backyard. The
I
barbecue is good.
I appreciate that. Yeah, some of your faves that you guys asked me about, I'm probably going to put it in membership before I will put it. I'm being very selective on what I do on my page now because of various reasons. So
And
some
the
of
doors of the church are now open. You can become a member.
yeah.
Amen.
Links to streams. If we have like yesterday, we had a court hearing. If I have the links, I'm gonna put it over there in the membership for y'all. And then when I go live about it, y'all gonna be like,
Woo!
"Why we ain't watched?" Because you wasn't a member. Because
I'm just laughing because of that person's face on their screen. That's all. Because they was looking real worried. They didn't have no bald headed Pam energy. I'm just saying, they didn't have that yesterday. They was looking a little stressed. A little stressed.
they were.
But y'all
But we
become
were
a member
still
and y'all can go over
greasy.
there with us and watch it. And
Yeah.
y'all hit the like button. Y'all know I put it in the chat 50,000 times a day. Hit the like button, please.
You
Yeah.
do,
Please.
but I hit the
No.
like when I come in. When I come in, I hit the like so I don't have to go back. I know that I hit the like. So hit the like, become a member. It is important to be a member if you really want the info and to follow up on some good information.
I appreciate that, y'all. So, on that note, that's a good note to leave on. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Love Jones, for coming to join. Thanks, Cakes. I hope you guys start feeling comfortable in the chat coming on and not just giving your comments, but giving me your voice. May give it
Yeah.
sound. I hope that happens in the future. This has been a great chat. I'm about to hop up off of here so that I can eat lunch because this is our lunchtime and we are going to continue to follow this. I'm going to probably set up around noon the same, type of platform, or maybe I'll put it on my phone or something while they do closing. I don't know, but I'll definitely make sure that I check in with you guys so I can see your opinions on everything. And we're gonna be waiting on a verdict in a minute. Guys, got any last final words before we get off of here?
I thank you
No.
for having me. I thank you for giving me an opportunity to come up and actually communicate with you and have a conversation with you
Thank
and
you.
to interact with the chat. So I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the wisdom you done dropped on me because you got me rethinking my life.
Ain't nothing wrong with
Jesus.
that.
Love Jones, we gonna have to change your name to YNW Evangelist. Child. What? Girl.
What you got to say, Cakes? What you got to say?
What I got to say, Pam, look, I've already told you how much we appreciate you and how much of a blessing you are to just people in general, but at least us up in here in this little chat, y'all in the chat, Pam, everybody, y'all just keep us going through this Melly trial because whoo, it has been a struggle, okay? It has been a struggle. But we do learn so much from you with you reading documents from other cases and everything else. You have just been a wealth of knowledge, sis. And I appreciate you for letting us come on and interacting with us, because everybody don't interact with their subscribers and their members and stuff. And you teach us, you learn us, and I just appreciate you, sis. I really do. I really,
I
really do.
appreciate you as the head mod in charge.
Oh Lord.
HMI. I appreciate that. All right, y'all. I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for joining. You know my intro is my outro because y'all know why. Talk to y'all.
All right, y'all take care.
Yeah. So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit of conflict or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge they don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like, wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.